Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Make It Destination. My name is Amanda and this is where I help you make it to your destination. For 2022, I wanted to do something new, something refreshing, something I haven't covered. And I've been debating it, and on my Instagram, I got a majority of people saying they'd be interested in a video like this. So I'm hoping that I help you with your goals of going to more concerts, hopefully in 2022. And I'm going to be reviewing Big Night Live, which is a concert venue in Boston. I went there in October, and I'm going to give you all the details regarding location and parking, security, and how fast the line moves, danceability, the venue layout, and my overall conclusions and just impressions from Big Night Live. This was my first time going to this venue, and from looking at their calendar, it looks like they do a lot of EDM events, and maybe I'll be going there in the future. But I want to give you the details about venues because I know when you're looking, it might be hard to envision what the venue is like, how security goes, how fast the line moves. I know for me, the venue makes or breaks the show. And so I want to let you know if Big Night Live is worth your money or not. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you like this video. Make sure you comment and let me know, have you ever been to Big Night Live? What are your thoughts about it? And make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell because I know you don't want to miss any of my videos. So with that said, let's get into it. Okay, so the first part that we're going to cover is location and parking. Let me just give you a little background of why and how I came about to find Big Night Live. So I was just looking at shows to go to, and I've been wanting to see Fisher for a very long time, and I saw that he was performing in October, so I was like, might as well go. I think tickets were maybe 40 or 50 bucks, which for a rave. And so I've never been to this concert venue. I tried to look online to understand more about it, but there really wasn't that much about Big Night Live or just venues in general. So I just wanted to give you a little breakdown, rundown, and see if there are more venue reviews coming up. So for location and parking, Big Night Live is located in Boston in the North Station, which is in the Bullfinch Triangle Historic District, kind of near the West End, kind of near Little Italy, that sort of area. And so there's no parking for Big Night Live, like no separate parking for Big Night Live. So I actually called and I said, where do I park? And they're like, you could do street parking, or there's a garage called the Government Center Garage, which is about a 7-minute walk from the venue. So I decided to park at the Government Center Garage. The parking for the event was $40. Which I know does sound like a lot, but in a big city like Boston, that isn't horrible. I will give some background that I did not know that there was a sold-out show of 21 Pilots at TD Garden, which is literally, I think, next door to Big Night Live. So that might be another reason why it was $40. So again, just make sure that you're looking at other venues and what's going on so that you know kind of if there's going to be more people in the area or less people, so on and so forth. And it's in a really cool kind of location in the fact that it feels kind of like an urban plaza, right? There's a 7-Eleven convenience store nearby so you could get some water and snacks before the concert. There's a hotel right in the plaza, which is great. I think it's called Citizen M. I wanted to stay there, but unfortunately it was fully booked for the 21 Pilots concert. And there are a few restaurants nearby. I saw a Dunkin' Donuts, I think a few Italian restaurants. So if you wanted to make a night or a trip out of your concert night, you really can. So I just thought it was beautiful. There were these like planter boxes that were like LED. The walk from the Government Center Garage to the venue really wasn't that bad. So honestly, I would advise parking there just because you know where your car is. It's in a parking garage. You don't have to deal with the street parking. But if you want it to be cheaper, then you can do the street parking. So yeah, that's where I started. And then we're going to now get into the security / how fast the line went. Because I know some people are like, oh, should I get to a rave or a concert like an hour early? It's different. Let me clarify that. For a rave, it is completely different than a concert, and I'm going to say why. For a concert, you usually have seats that are pre-chosen or pre-bought, so it really doesn't matter if you arrive on time or late to a concert because you know those seats are yours. At a rave, usually the tickets are just for the floor, and so there's no assigned seating. So there are some people who have been in the EDM world who show up early, they see every single act, they want to be in front, and those are my people who get there at least an hour, even an hour and a half before the doors even open. They wait in front, they want to make sure that they get there and see everybody, And then you have some people who, they've been in the EDM game for a while. They might not want to see the opener, so they get there a little later. And they might just want to see the person that they bought the ticket for. So that could be Fisher, that could be Getter, that could be David Guetta, anybody like that. And some people just arrive, a few hours later. The reason why I go over how fast the line goes and how long it was, again, it varies from show to show, is because at a rave, that determines where you're going to be. Again, there are people who push and shove to be in the front. There are people who don't care, want to be in the back and just dance it up. So that's why I want to go over that. So let's get into how security was and how quickly the line moved. Now we're going to get into security and how fast the line moved. So for this event to see Fisher, the doors opened at 9:30. I think I got there around 9, honestly. And the doors open right at 9:30. There are people kind of pressing at like 9:25, like, hey, hurry up. But they're like, we're not going to open the doors until 9:30. And it took about, I would say, 15 to 20 minutes to get in. When I got into line, there was already kind of a big line forming, but it moved pretty quick. So at this venue, there are metal detectors that you have to go through in order to get in. And then once you go through those security or those metal detectors, security pats you down, checks what's inside your bag, and then you have to go up these stairs that go to the venue. And the line is outside of the venue, so it will get obviously a little chilly in the winter, a little hot in the summer, and the security checkpoint is inside the venue. So they make, I believe, they don't separate it at the line, but once you get inside the venue, they separate you by male or female, just because when they pat you down, they'll have a female pat females down and male pat males down. It didn't really take that long. Again, they have, once you get past the metal detectors, then that's when they check your ticket. And then now we're going to kind of get into venue layout and visibility and kind of my opinions on that. So let's get into it. And once you walk into the venue, immediately there's a bar to pretty much welcome you. Beautiful, I believe it was like glass, like floating shelves for the liquor. There's a screen above the liquor floating shelves to show you the DJ while you're getting a drink. To your left-hand side, there's a women's bathroom. For the bathroom, they do have an attendant in there, which makes it feel a little more elevated. I will say, out of all the rave venues I've been to, this one was definitely more elevated and club-like rather than some of the other venues I've been to. For my fellow ravers out there or people who haven't been to a rave, we know that there's kind of varying degrees of the vibe and energy of a venue. So the OG, I would say the OG raves are usually kind of like warehousey, kind of feels like nobody really knows about it sort of venue. And then there are club sort of vibe venues. And this was definitely a club vibe venue, just like the energy and the interior design. And so there's an attendant in there, which again, like I said, makes it feel very elevated. Once you get past that bar area, there is a dance floor. And the dance floor is lower than the bar area. And so there are 3 different staircases to get to it since it is like sunk in. And so I think it was a really cool like pocket to kind of explore and dance. I would call that like the dance floor area. Then you go up the stairs, there are rails. There's a tiny, I would say like hallway. It's not really a hallway. It's kind of where like the sound check dude is, the light dude, and then a little bit of GA could stay there. But past the sound bar guy is where VIP ticket holders can stay. So the whole back area of that venue is, pretend it's a rectangle, like half of the rectangle is for VIP and half of the rectangle is for general admission ticket holders. There are 3 dance floors to get to this dance floor area, only 1 bar, but there are screens around the venue where if you're waiting for a drink, you don't have to miss out on not seeing the DJ. The awesome thing about having the sunken in dance floor is that the DJ is elevated. So if I continue to do venue reviews, you'll probably hear me say I hate it when the DJ is on the same level as you. That sounds horrible, but I don't like it when they're equivalent, because then if you're in the far back, it makes it super hard to see the DJ. And so you don't always want to be in the front. You don't always want to push and shove. You know, there are people pushing you, you're pushing people. So to have the DJ elevated makes it easier for videos, makes it easier for you to see. So to have the DJ elevated like that really makes it awesome for the raver, for the person who just wants to sit there and watch, for the person who wants to dance, because that's the focal point of the room. So I thought that was a cool thing about having the dance floor sunken in. And I believe it was wood, like a wooden floor in there. So when people did spill drinks, it did get a little slick. So I will say be careful to my fellow shufflers out there, because honestly, you probably know a lot of people spill their drink or just throw it down on the ground because they don't want to hold it anymore. So it was a little slick. They did have somebody come in and try to mop up as much of the spill as they could, but of course the dance floor gets packed very quickly. And I will still say the sound is on point with the speakers surrounding the dance floor area and also kind of encapsulating it. So you really get the feel of the synths, the bass, the hi-hats, the claps, everything like that. It wasn't too, you know when there's like a crunching sound when like speakers get too loud? There was none of the crunching sound. So honestly, it was a really cool layout. I've never been to an elevated, other than Las Vegas, but on the East Coast, I've never been to like an elevated club sort of feel for a rave, so I thought that was pretty cool. And now we're gonna get into danceability and what I thought about how I could or couldn't dance at the venue. So danceability is very subjective. Every raver, clubber, you know, whatever, dances differently. But I will say the con of having the dance floor sunken in is that there are 3 entry points to the dance floor. So there are people always coming and going. And if you've been to concerts or raves or festivals, you know it's so annoying when you're like really in the zone, trying to dance, trying to vibe with the music, and people are like, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, or they don't say excuse me and they just push right past you, and then you hit somebody else and they get mad. It's a whole thing. So I will say having all those entry points was a con. And also because it was only like a rectangle, a small rectangle, and it was sunken in, it's confined, which makes it hard to kind of like move about. Again, I went to go see Fisher, so for a Fisher concert, I'm going to be shuffling, moving my legs more, trying to get into it. And I will say, to my fellow shufflers who need a lot of room, that is not the venue for you. I even tried to go to the back area, like I told you, not the VIP, but kind of where the sound guy is, because I noticed at raves, the further back you go, the more space you have to dance. It's not like that at this venue. It was packed. There was not really a square that you could really have a shuffling flow going on. And so that was the thing that I felt was missing from this show when I went to go see Fisher. Like, I felt like I could kind of get into it, but I also felt like I was standing like this, like dancing from side to side for a good amount of it. I think if the artist wasn't Fisher or a house music artist, like if it was a headbanging show, maybe this would be a great venue, because they have the, the railing kind of holding people up from going into the dance area, but then they have the dance area. So maybe for headbangers or a harder show, this would be a cool venue. But again, for my fellow shufflers, even I would say for trap shows where you're really getting into it, maybe pop and locking it, not really a good venue for that. So I was kind of sad that the danceability wasn't great. But I will say, actually I'll save this for the conclusion. So now we're going to get in the conclusion. I'm going to let you know if this is a venue I would go back to. And I kind of just want to hear your thoughts. If you've ever been to Big Night Live, do you agree with the points I made? Do you not? But let's get into the conclusion now. Okay, so now I'm going to get into the conclusion of this video. I personally think Big Night Live pulls a lot of big names from the EDM world. It's not the greatest for shuffling or having a lot of room to dance, but when I see their calendar, they have so many good people going to Big Night Live. And I think the visuals were great. The general aesthetic was cool. If, again, you want that elevated sort of club/rave scene, beautiful in there. It took my breath away. I will say the show ended at 2 a.m. So from 10 to 2, you're dancing it up, depending on who's opening. I think that's a good amount of time. And especially in a big city like Boston, you never know. Some shows end around 1. I've been to places where shows end around midnight. So I think 2 a.m., great. The DJ sets move seamlessly. So I think this would be another venue, or a venue that I would go to again. But I would keep the danceability in mind. And so I think that would determine who I would see at this venue, right? Like, I think if Excision, who is a dubstep artist, went to Big Night Live, I would go, because it's, for headbanging, you don't need too much room, right? So I think I would go for that. But if it was another house music artist or an artist where I felt like I had to dance to connect with the music, I'm not sure if I would go, just because of the general danceability and flow of the venue. But I thought the parking location was great. Again, it's 7 minutes away. The walk wasn't bad. And again, you know exactly where your car is. $40 might be a lot, but I feel like in a big city, for an event, you're gonna be paying something. And so overall, I really did like this venue. It was cool. Let me know again in the comments if you've ever been to Big Night Live, what your thoughts are. Please don't forget to like this video. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And thank you so much, y'all, for letting me kind of be creative and do this venue review. And if there are any other venues you'd like me to review or go to, just let me know. And until next time.